Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Claw and the King podcast. I am Ollie. Currently sitting next to me is my co-host, Oscar, a.k.a. Dopey. How are you today, my friend?
I'm well. Ready to get into it, you know?
Get into it?
Just super keen.
How has your week been in the world of sports? In terms of you, we don't care about your general week because no one cares about you.
No.
But I'm talking about like your viewing of sport. How was it?
It was pretty good, I'd say. Obviously, the fights, which we'll get into later, obviously that was entertaining. The footy was good. It was just a solid weekend. Nothing too crazy, but solid.
Well, this is a podcast for entertainment purposes, so I'd prefer it if it wasn't just, oh yeah, it was all right. I prefer if it's like, oh my God, no way. Did you see what happened? Oh my God, I lost my mind.
Well, I'm just easing into it,
Easing into it. Well, got to kind of start out with a bang. But anyway, what topic would you like to address first, my friend?
I think we should address the, I forgot about this in the weekend of sport, but, I guess I didn't watch it. But the monumental upset that was the Red Devils.
First, the Scouse scum.
Somehow defeating Liverpool.
Somehow we dominated that game. Look, fantastic. I mean, I woke up at 5. If you're not living in Australia, you probably wouldn't understand the struggle that a lot of Australians do have to go through to watch Premier League football. And I had to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday to watch it. Luckily, I didn't have work, but that would have been a nightmare. But anyway, that's by the by. It was a fantastic game. I was shocked, surprisingly shocked, but happily shocked how well we played, especially in that opening half. I thought we were brilliant. And look, if you look at the possession stats, we only had like 30% possession or whatever, but that was mainly because we shut up shop in the last 20 minutes or so. The first 30 minutes, like I say, especially, were just unbelievable. I thought the standout performers were Varane and Martinez. The Butcher, as they call him at Ajax. That's his nickname at Ajax.
Oh, because he slide tackles.
No, but I don't know why they call him that. He's a butcher. I don't know. I wasn't really keen on watching Ajax games last year.
It must be something to do with his tackling technique.
Well, the passion that it's not only the passion that he showed, but I mean, Maguire showed passion early, but he was so unathletic that it didn't matter. But this guy clearly is quick. You can read defensive play. He's short, but it doesn't matter, especially when you have a competent centre back next to him. And I think that was probably the most highlighted thing throughout Twitter, you could say, is we found out what Maguire's best position was, and that was sitting on the bench. And there's an element of joke to it, but there's also an element of truth to that. I think it's fair to say that Varane looked the best he's ever looked at Man United without Maguire, and Martinez had his best ever game at Man United without Maguire. And Shaw, I think people don't really look at Shaw as much as they do Maguire, which is pretty unfair in my opinion, because Shaw has been dreadful for about a year. And that left-sided centre-back has really struggled under Shaw because of how I don't want to say incompetent, but lazy he's been defensively and not tracking back and all that jazz. And look, Liverpool were nowhere near the best, and they've been nowhere near the best this season, as we'll probably move on to in a bit. But just the overall performance and the Ronaldo chat afterwards, I don't know what you'd make of that, but it was... I don't completely agree that it's because Ronaldo didn't play that we played well. But do you think Ronaldo's a hindrance on the team?
It's hard to say without being in the locker room and seeing how training looks and all that sort of stuff. I mean, obviously the word is that he's not really putting in the best effort.
Well, he wants to go, but
yeah. But I mean, like he came off the bench. He didn't start the game, which I guess sends a message to him. But I don't know. I'm a Ronaldo fan, so I want to see him there. But
Cristiano Ronaldo,
Suey.
Speaking of Suey, Speed got announced for the Sidemen charity game. Shout out to him. But I think overall Rashford didn't have a good game in my opinion. Look, he had a great goal.
Everyone said he had a good.
The media does. The media just loves Rashford.
Compared to a usual Rashford performance.
Oh mate, it was a Ballon d'Or performance.
Yeah.
Then. But I thought first half he was poor. He gave the ball away a lot. But second half he definitely grew into the game. He was attacking. He nearly scored an absolute wonder goal. If you saw, I don't know if you saw the clips because he doesn't obviously watch the games because he's not a real fan, but he dribbled past 3 Liverpool defenders and then had this really, really close shot that he powered through that nearly just marginally went over the crossbar, which I thought was, wow, I've never seen this from this guy in about 2 years.
Nearly getting it on target?
Nearly got it on target as well.
That is really impressive.
But I don't think Rashford up top is going to solve our problems at all. But it was nice to see.
Martial looked alright.
Again, I think it also comes from the fact that Trent Alexander-Arnold was absolutely shocking. The guy cannot defend to save his life. I don't think he's an overrated player, but he's definitely an overrated defender.
How can he go from like the best fullback in the world to trash?
Because he's so gifted offensively, but defensively he's shocking. I mean, there's a couple of times this season already he's been exposed at the back, and Virgil van Dijk was also flamed. Did you see that? Where that got with the first goal where he was just hands behind his back. That was Milner. Milner got sort of done by Sancho, and Virgil van Dijk was essentially just standing there with the hands behind his back, not closing him down. And there was a lot of memes that came out of that. Have you seen Oasis perform live?
Wonderwall.
Yeah, you know how Noel Gallagher does like the hands behind the back. There was a lot of like memes like Van Dijk is getting prepared to sing Wonderwall. But yeah, it was. It is kind of a hindrance on his game. A lot of Liverpool fans have brought this up as well. How he doesn't love getting in there and doing the dirty work. He's more of a sort of fancy defender that is so elite.
He's pretty injury prone, isn't he?
Well, yeah, that's another thing. But I think that he's not a nasty. He's not like Lisandro Martinez, a butcher.
He's not like Sergio Ramos.
Yeah, he's not.
He's just going to kill someone.
Well, Pepe, yeah, is more accurate. But yeah, I think he's just been so successful doing what he does, and I think there is sort of little things in his game that he needs to work on in terms of absolutely committing himself 100% to stopping the ball from going in the net, which was highlighted in that game. But if to look forward for Manchester United, I don't think this impacts it that much. It's only one game. Obviously, we're going to bring Casemiro in instead of McTominay. I mean, that's got to be the biggest...
I mean, the season looks a lot more promising.
Yeah, it does, but...
I was honestly thinking relegation before this game.
Look, we may or may not have said that Man United could get relegated in the next 2 years. And that's kind of looking a bit silly now. However, this one game, I'm not going to overreact. I still think there's massive problems from the very top, including the Glazers, which was the Glazers out movement happened prior to the game, which was great to see. But yeah, it was a pretty shocking performance by Liverpool, I thought, and it pretty much aided us into getting an easy 3 points. And a lot of people were surprised, but I think if you watch Liverpool this season against Fulham, they were struggling. So they've got a lot of injuries as well, so I don't think it's going to be that traumatic for Liverpool. But again, for Manchester United season, like I was just about to say, Casemiro, you're getting an upgrade instead of McTominay. I mean, that's got to be the biggest upgrade in the history of football, right? From McTominay to Casemiro.
I mean, we'll have to see how he plays first, but...
Mate, if he's a top 3 CDM in the world, and McTominay's the worst CDM I've ever seen in my life. So it's a bit of an upgrade, I think. But yeah, I think we still need to do a lot more business. Apparently, Frankie de Jong's over now.
Wow, really? Can you finally admit that he's not coming?
Well, I don't think he is coming. And Anthony were apparently linked for 100 million euros, which is not great. I'd much prefer Gakpo, who plays for PSV, who's about 35 million, which is a lot cheaper, and he's apparently a lot better player. So
Anthony is Brazilian, so...
Yeah, he's Brazilian, though. He's the next Ronaldinho.
He's the next Neymar.
Yeah. But in essence, I thought it was a great performance by the lads, and hopefully we can continue on. I think we're playing Southampton this week. It's a good time for us as well. I think it's 9:30 at night over here, so we'll be watching that with extreme love. And then, if you wanted to move on to Klopp, I have a quick insight. It was going around social media, but Klopp's 7th year hoodoo. It's a bit of a weird thing, you know. At Mainz, he got relegated in a 7th year. Left.
Is that a German team?
Yeah, Mainz in Germany. And then he went to Borussia Dortmund. Finished 7th with them in his 7th year.
That's embarrassing.
And then left.
What year was that?
Oh, well, 7 years ago, I'd imagine. And then 7 years into his Liverpool career, he's had his worst start to date. And it's looking pretty shocking. And he's made some boneheaded decisions as well. Even though they've got major injuries, he's still made some boneheaded decisions. So, is the 7th year hoodoo a thing? I don't know. I think it's more to do with the fact that Liverpool...
Wow. He started managing Mainz the year he retired.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty young when he started. But what I was going to say was, I think last year took so much out of them emotionally, that Liverpool team. not winning the Champions League, not winning the Premier League on like the final days by a skin of their teeth, not winning it. I think for them, it was just so emotionally draining to only come out of that season with a FA Cup and a Carabao Cup, I think. And to sort of roll over to on this season, you haven't had much. Even though you brought in Darwin Núñez, you lost Mane, which is a massive loss, and he's playing unbelievable in the Bundesliga. So I think in essence, I think it's more to do with the fact that Liverpool emotionally aren't ready for the season. I think they needed like a 10-month break to deal with the heartbreak of last season, as well as getting rid of their second most important player, I'd say. So, yeah, what's your take on it? Do you think it's more to do with a curse, or it's more to do with last season and how that sort of ended?
I'm not too sure. I'm not too familiar with the
because you don't watch the games.
Klopp curse. Well, I've never heard of the Klopp curse before.
Well, again, I hadn't, but it's come up recently because of how Liverpool have started.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Liverpool will come good. I mean, just the team that they have is still a very good team. I guess maybe they've started the season slow because they're just depressed from what happened last year. I don't know, but I think Núñez is going to be a bad signing. It looks like he's going to be a bad signing.
Very early, but yeah, I see your point.
And I think their three best midfielders aren't playing right now.
Yeah, that was something that was brought up by a lot of Liverpool fans. If you watch some match reactions to the game, the fact that Klopp especially, and the board obviously, but the Klopp especially has sort of diminished the need, or publicly diminished the need for a midfielder, even though Liverpool fans are crying out for one because their depth there is not good enough. I mean, you look at the midfield: Henderson, Milner, and Harvey Elliott was their midfield. And Harvey Elliott I don't think he was great, but Liverpool fans love him, even though he's got some sketchy stuff to do with his mother. We won't bring that up on this podcast, but all I'm saying is that their midfield definitely needs reinforcements. They're very old, that midfield especially. You look at the midfield, even though Thiago and Fabinho are great players, are still in their 30s. Henderson in his 30s. Milner's in his deep 30s.
How was James Milner still playing for Liverpool?
So, I don't know, because they have no depth in that position. They have zero depth in that position. They need to reinvest. They're targeting Bellingham apparently for next season, but I think they need reinforcements today. I don't think that you can go through a season where your four or five best midfielders are above 30. You just can't do it in the Premier League today. There's too much running. There's too much pressing. You just can't do it. So I don't think they'll bring in another player. I think they're very stubborn on that, on getting Bellingham next year and being the front runners to do that. But it may hinder them massively this season. And look, top four is not a certainty for Liverpool. I think how quality Arsenal and Spurs have been, it's 3 games, but Arsenal and Spurs are going to be much improved to last season and the season before that, where Liverpool really had a cakewalk to the top 4. I know Chelsea have looked bad, and Man United obviously have their problems, but I'd especially worry about Arsenal and Spurs, because you can't be caught napping now. That there aren't a lot of those top 6 teams are quality, so you can't be sort of and ahhing your way through a season where I think it was 2 or 3 years ago where they just finished 4th when they were horrendous, but because everyone else was horrendous, it was okay. But yeah, do you think missing out on Champions League is a possibility for Liverpool?
I'd still be backing them in at this point.
Yeah.
I'd still.
But
say
Tyson off. You think Tyson off?
Yeah, I think City have got it. I think it's done. Even though they drew this week, right?
Yeah. They drew with Newcastle. They rescued. They were 3-1 down. They rescued it.
Yeah, but I still think City have it.
Well, I mean, Arsenal fans are sort of hyping up and saying they're finishing winning the Premier League. Now, you have had the easiest schedule. I think it's fair to say you played Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, and Leicester, who were 17th. So it's not the hardest schedule so far. But look, they've looked solid, and I think they're looking to make the top 4. And especially the way that they've played, they've not Crystal Palace. They weren't certain with, but the other 2 games they were definitely controlling and dominating those games. So I think if they can do that to the middle of the road teams, which they haven't been able to do in previous years, I think they'll definitely be top 4. Be a top 4 team. Sorry. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Liverpool can sneak in, if Man United can sneak in. I don't think so, but Oscar has thrived. You can just see it on him. He just thrives off optimism. He's so optimistic. This guy. He's just so pumped and ready.
Give me a little bit of hope, and I'm on.
Absolutely. We
I'm
love
on
to
the
see
bandwagon.
it. So yeah, that's
I've gone from relegation last week to top 4 this week. So
yeah. Well, before we move on to the next sport, I'd like to say this to Trent Alexander-Arnold, mate. You better shape up because my FBL team is tragic because of you, mate. You are the most expensive defender on the market. You cost 7.5 million, right? And he's stinking up the gaff, right? Stinking it up. He's terrible. He got 0 last week. 0.
Just sell him.
Against Man United, who hadn't scored a goal that wasn't an own goal. Just let that sink in a second. You are dreadful at the moment. You've got Bournemouth. I've kept you in the team, right? I've kept him in the team. You've got Bournemouth this week. If you don't get at least 8 points this week, I'm just going to... I don't know what I'll do. I'm going to switch him out definitely, but for Perisic. But, God, I just want to... Well, Perisic, he's cheaper.
Isn't he a midfielder?
No, he's a defender technically.
What?
Okay. Again, if you haven't watched the podcast before, Oscar lives in 2012. So when he watched football, Perisic was a winger.
Is it the same person?
Yes.
Ivan Perisic?
Yes. The plays for Croatia.
He's now a defender.
When he watched football, Perisic was a winger. Now he doesn't realise that Perisic is a wing back. He doesn't quite grasp it.
I don't get it.
David Luiz doesn't play for Chelsea? What? What's going on? Oh my God. What is going... Wayne Rooney retired? What?
Yeah, I thought Wesley Sneijder was the best midfielder in the world.
Philip Lahm isn't playing for Bayern. What? He lives in that 2010... Schweinsteiger. He lived in 2010 to 2015 era. That's when you were good at football. That's when you were the French wonder kid of football. So to be fair to him, it's not really his fault. But yeah, moving on to the next... I see you've got NRL brought up on your laptop.
That I do.
It is a spicy couple of weeks for the NRL, to be honest with you.
Last 2 weeks of the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Top 8 is looking very
saucy.
Interesting. Very interesting. Obviously, a lot of big games this week and then next week as well to decide the final positions. Obviously, the comp is done, but the rest, obviously, Penrith are going to win, but the rest of the teams are very interesting.
Of course. That's why you look very dodgy the last couple of weeks, but that's what by the by. We could have beat you. I will keep on hammering on about Jared Suth until the day I die. Okay. We would have won that game if it wasn't for that prick.
Okay. But you better be thanking us that we beat the Raiders that game that they were favourite for, because without that, they're probably going to make the 8. Now there's still a chance, but outside, I'd say. So the 2 big games really this week, obviously you got Roosters, Melbourne. Roosters need to win one of their last 2 to qualify, pretty much.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to leave it to the last game against the Rabbitohs. That would be pretty risky.
It's a intense game.
Yeah, I'd want to get it done this week. Obviously, Melbourne is not a very easy game. They're playing really well at the moment. But I don't know. Do you think the boys can get up for it down in Melbourne?
I'm hoping so. Obviously, as a Roosters fan, you have optimism, but it's really I think it's more of a game of who's going to screw up. And I have a feeling it's going to be Brisbane. They've looked shocking.
Well, yeah, but Brisbane have the Dragons in the last round.
I wouldn't even say that's a certainty. Who do they have this? They have a tough one. They got
Eels this week.
Eels, yeah. But again, the Eels,
But all those teams, Brisbane, Rabbitohs, Roosters, they all need to win one of their last 2.
Yeah. Well, we've got the toughest schedule, no doubt. But we're on red hot form at the moment. So, look, I think if we're talking about this week, I think we definitely do have a shot against Melbourne. I hope we do. It's going to be a tough one. It's at Amy Park. Both teams are on red hot form. I see a lot of praise for Munster at fullback. I think he's been great at fullback.
Yeah, everyone's saying,
but I think he's a 6 still. I still don't think he's best position as fullback. I see a lot of people saying that. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think he's not fast enough to do fullback.
Fast enough.
Well, he's unbelievable as a fullback because he's just an unbelievable player. But I still think 6 is his best position. The closer he is to the line, I think is better. The defensive line, sorry. So yeah, I think that's just a massive game, and it's just a great game to watch. I think probably the game of the year, I'd say, in terms of anticipation and what it means. Melbourne for top 4 to secure. Have Melbourne secure top 4?
No.
So yeah, Melbourne to secure top 4, Roosters to secure top 8, and maybe sneak into the top 4. No, we can't. But maybe to go over Parramatta. That's still a possibility. But yeah, look, all I'm saying is great game. Looking forward to it. both teams on red hot form. There isn't much controversy in it. There isn't much sort of debate that you can probably do in it. But it's a game I'm definitely looking forward. I'm going to be very nervous watching it, but a game I'm very looking forward to watch.
I think the Roosters can win.
They can win it. Wow.
They're like $2.40 underdogs, which is I think I'm taking that.
Well, that's what Loz.
That's a good price.
Loz said that.
That's a good price for a 50-50 game.
Loz's lock. Oh, dude, I just want to say Loz's lock.
Biggest scam.
No, it was the funniest thing ever because he had Suwali scoring a try. The funny thing was he had Suwali scoring a try, and the funny thing about it was the Roosters scored 72 points, and Suwali didn't score a try.
I had Suwali as well.
It's Loz's lock. It's like the opposite of what actually happens. I mean, the Roosters literally scored 72 points, and the winger that scored like a try a game didn't score. That was the funny part. And he also was going to put Nat Butcher in the Loz's lock.
I heard that. So like Fletch told him to put Butcher in. He was like, "What are you talking about, mate? Nat Butcher doesn't score tries.
He's got 4 in a game." But yeah, it was. Imagine if you put on a Nat Butcher hat trick for that game. That would have been laughing. Tasty. But yeah, what's the other? There's another big Cowboys.
So yeah, Cowboys Rabbitohs. Another
intense, man.
Again, Rabbitohs would want to win this week to avoid having to win against the Roosters next week to secure it. I do think the Cowboys is an easier game than Melbourne. They're a good team, but they don't scare me at all, to be honest. I think the Rabbitohs with Latrell and Cody and Cook, they're all firing. I think this is a winnable game for them.
But the Rabbitohs have a really tough game. I mean, they got us and then they... at the last game, but they also got the Cowboys. I still think Storm is a tougher game at the moment than the Cowboys, but yeah, I don't know, man. I think they would have won last week against you if it wasn't for Paolo. Is that how you say it?
Paulo, Jackson Paulo.
Yeah, but they changed the names. I don't know.
But you know who we're talking about.
Yeah, Jackson. We'll call him Jackson. But yeah, if it wasn't for the winger with South Sydney, you would have lost it.
Surely the Source gets back in the team after that.
Oh, didn't he do an interview? It was like he wanted to get back.
He got on 9. He's like, I want to play on. I've got the hunger in my belly. It's like, mate, I called it in 2020
you're
grand
like
final.
4th string winger at this point.
The bottle was empty at the end of 2020.
Yeah, I mean, even Penrith fans couldn't stand you.
I do love you, mate. You had a great career for us, but you did kind of lose us that grand final. So
it's all right. You won the next year. It's fine. It's all is forgiven. But you would be back to back in the greatest team of all time if you didn't. But anyway, that's moving on. So yeah, Cowboys. I have a feeling Cowboys personally.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think
no Dearden.
No Dearden. Oh, actually, and they're moving Scotty Drinkwater to halves, aren't they?
Yeah.
No, I'll go Rabbitohs. Actually, I think the Rabbitohs. It's at North Queensland, right? Though.
I think it's Rabbitohs home ground.
Oh, jeez. Well, yeah, I'm going Rabbitohs then. Yeah, it was a worrying performance against the Panthers. I mean, the Panthers didn't have their 3 best players and they lost. And even though they should have won, it still shouldn't have been close. The form that they were in, and the fact that they were fully healthy. It's a
Penrith,
bit.
they're on a different level. You can't compare that to any other game.
I mean, they had a lot of players come back. I think Campbell Graham came back against Penrith.
Yeah, Campbell Graham was there, but I think they played well, and against 14 teams, I think they win that game. So,
well, look, I do think Rabbitohs will win. It's just tough for that. I think they will make the 8, but
I hope the Raiders miss out. They're just such an underwhelming team.
Yeah, the Raiders don't deserve to be in. Let's be real. I think if we were, even though we are not like Queenslanders, so we don't love the Broncos, I think most people would recognise it. It's a good story for them to get in the 8 after.
It would be catastrophic.
Oh my God.
If they missed the 8. After.
It would go from being like an unbelievable season to the worst season ever.
Yeah, like at the start of the year they were predicted to be nowhere near the 8. Then at the halfway point they're
second.
They're cemented in the top 4, and everyone's going, "Wow, they're contenders." And then they end up falling out of the 8. It's just would not be great. But I don't know.
But who is your top? Who's your team to miss out? What team do you reckon?
It is.
So who's
honestly,
it between? Do you want to clarify who's between? So can Parramatta still go out?
No, they're in.
Okay, so you got Roosters, Rabbitohs, Broncos,
Raiders.
Okay. Yeah,
I want to see even though there would be a threat to Penrith winning, I want to see Roosters and Rabbits get in because I want to see the
entertainment.
Big, I don't want any excuses. I want to see the big dogs play each other.
The big doggies.
And I know if the Roosters fall out, they're going to be like, oh, but we just left our run too late. But if we were there, we would have won. I know that's what they'll be saying. But,
but no, I do think Brisbane are going to get. If Canberra had were playing a semblance of a good team. If they were playing players that wanted to play NRL football, then I'd maybe say Canberra would be knocked out. But the fact that they're playing the biggest piss pots of teams, the only chance that they had of not making it was against the Knights last weekend. And look, they nearly lost to the Knights.
Manly this week.
They've packed their bags, mate. They're done.
They have, but...
Is Jake even playing? I don't think Jake's playing.
No, he's out for the year.
Well, what are we talking about here?
But, it's Kieran's last game.
No, they suck with Jake Trbojevic.
They do suck, but the thing is, the Raiders suck. They nearly lost to the Knights last week.
Yeah, but... and then who are they? The Tigers last year.
So Tigers don't even walk on the field, Tigers.
I don't think they will.
This is the only game. Like, Manly, they're a horrendous team and anyone would beat them, but the Raiders are so shit they might lose, so...
Yeah, well... It's an interesting... I do think the Raiders are going to make it for the simple... Now, everyone could... Well, actually, no. What if happened...
The thing is...
everyone could win or win at least one of their games in the 8, and then Canberra would be knocked out.
Yeah, so they would need one of those 3 teams to lose both games.
Yeah.
I still...
Who did the Broncos... I think
Brisbane can beat Dragons in the last round.
Who did the Broncos have this round, though? They got...
Eels,
yeah.
So they'll lose that.
Well, the Eels are always just always so unpredictable, and
but the Broncos they just got 60 put on them.
I know, but the Broncos spanked the Eels a couple of rounds ago, so
but such a different team now. No Carrigan.
Yeah, well, obviously as a Roosters fan, I'm hoping the Roosters can pull through. I think we will. We've looked unbelievable the last 6 weeks. Probably the most informed team in the comp. We beat the Cowboys, and the Broncos. So we have been good teams recently. It's going to be tough. I don't think we have come. The Cowboys are on a bit of a slide, so I wouldn't call them the standard that Melbourne are at the moment, and South Sydney, obviously a good team.
I think Cronulla will finish second if the Cowboys lose.
Yeah.
So.
Well, who is your premiership? Like, obviously you think Penrith are going to win, but who's the second team you'd have in premiership contenders? Or who do you think they're going to meet in the grand final?
I'd like to see the Sharks there in the grand final. Other than that, honestly, I'd want to see the Roosters there just so we can destroy them and I can laugh at everyone that's a Roosters fan.
Specifically me.
Yeah, but I mean, the Roosters are good. They're dangerous. Rabbitohs are dangerous. Melbourne are dangerous. I'd say they're the teams for me.
Well, the thing about Penrith is they have shown bad performances this year, but the next week they've been right on it, and that's the problem. They have not a fake game, but they've got an ability to lose a game and still be a contending team. So yeah, it's going to be tough for me to see anyone beating Penrith, but look, I'm always going to back the Chooks to the end of the day. At the end of the day, so yeah, Chookies will come through this weekend and hopefully come through in terms of winning the premiership.
Yeah, all right. Well, speaking of come from behind victories,
I don't know where you were going with that for a second, but moving on.
Okay, well, come from behind victories. UFC this week. Leon Edwards, what a performance! What a performance! Well,
from Birmingham,
maybe not what a performance because he was getting dominated, but
I don't think it was what a performance. It was what a shot!
What a shot! What a kick!
Yeah,
the kick heard around the world. Leon Edwards knocking out Kamaru Usman. Someone sat here just a week ago and basically called exactly what happened. So,
well, look, you got to get your credit. You know, you said Leon would win. I said Kamaru would win. Just because I couldn't see him losing. And look, I was right for 99% of that fight. He was dominating the entire fight. And then all of a sudden, Kamaru decided to dip his head. I mean, he should have just ran around the ring the last minute. You know, just run around, not do anything.
Well, he didn't see it coming. And it was just one of the greatest UFC moments of all time, right up there. I mean, it's just something about English people becoming champs. It's just...
Because everyone loves the English.
Bisping,
no one likes the Americans.
Bisping was one of the biggest underdogs ever to win a belt and just knocks out the champ, and Leon does the same thing as a massive underdog. It's just... I don't know, something about the English. But
Did you see the dubbed? What was it? The Rocky
with his coach.
Yeah.
Stop feeling sorry for yourself, Liam.
That gave me goosebumps actually when I watched it. But yeah, it was a great finish to a fight, and I'm happy for Leon. He's a Englishman. He's a Birmingham lad. So
gave me a bit of cash.
Peaky Blinders. But yeah, who was the other fights on the card?
Costa beat Rockhold as expected, but by decision.
But Rockhold, do you see the fuck where he was just spreading his blood all over?
Because that was like the last 5 seconds of the fight, and he knew he lost, so he was just rubbing his blood on him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, most people were surprised Rockhold made it to the end of the fight. It was actually a decent performance, apart from the fact that he gassed out after 30 seconds.
Well, he hasn't fought in about 7 years, so it's not like...
Yeah, but still, he should be training. He's retired after, so fair play to him. Decent career. Obviously became champ, so, fair play to him.
Fair play to a
bit of a weird dude, but...
Yeah, I mean, he's got some iconic moments in the UFC, not just in the octagon, but in the press conferences.
He's got iconic moments because of Bisping, pretty much.
Well, yeah, but also, I mean, some of his press conferences have been a bit funny as well. But that's by the by. Is there any other fights on the card that you enjoyed?
Well, the Aussie Tyson Pedro, he knocked his dude out in a minute, so that was good.
Mm-hmm.
Aldo did lose, unfortunately.
Like I said.
By decision.
Like I said.
A bit of a weird fight, though. It was basically Merab just leaned on him against the cage the whole time.
Well, Aldo's finished. I think we all knew that, apart from you.
Yeah, well, apparently he may have said to Merab in the cage that was his last fight. He hasn't really said anything since. No one really knows, but may have been his last fight. Hopefully not. I hope we get to see a send-off for him back in Brazil.
No,
he deserves
Conor
that.
McGregor gave him a send-off. That's what a send-off
That's not a send-off. That's
Mate,
it. Just
knock spark out. That's what a send-off should be.
But yeah, this really shakes up the UFC and the welterweight division, to be honest. Obviously, you see Volkanovski moves up to number 1 pound for pound.
I did see that. Yes.
Great achievement for the Volk. Love to see that. But
it's good though for the Volk, obviously, because a couple of years ago he was sort of like a fake champion. When he controversially beat Max Holloway, and everyone said he was the worst champion in the UFC, but all of a sudden now he's number 1 pound for pound. Personally, I would have Francis number 1 pound for pound, but
no, you can't have Francis number 1,
mate. People literally don't want to fight
He's an
him.
unbeatable human, yeah, but in terms of skill set, he's nowhere near Volkanovski.
Yeah, and I don't know that's what pound for pound is set up for, but for me, I just don't think pound for pound ever sort of does well for the heavyweight guys and doesn't sort of equate well.
John Jones was number 1 for ages.
He's not a heavyweight though.
Well, he is now.
He hasn't fought at heavyweight, and apparently he wants 30 million according to Dana White. He wants.
Well, I think they're
Deontay Wilder more money.
I think they're booking him against Stipe. End of this year or start of next year.
Yeah, I just think John Jones left it a couple of years too late. I think if he fought heavyweight a couple of years ago, I think it would have been unbelievable. But
he's still like younger than Francis.
Yeah, but it's more ring rust, and it's more. What's the phrase? It's more mileage on the body. To be honest, Jones has been fighting at a UFC level forever now. Francis really didn't get.
He was the youngest champion ever.
Yeah. And he's been fighting at the top level. He's been taking tough fights. Against Gustafsson especially. So yeah, I don't know if John Jones will ever be. And even though he beat Cormier the last fight that he fought him, he still didn't look as sharp. I don't think as the John Jones prior to that. So yeah, we'll see. But I think I just think it was a bit of a not a scared move to not fight Izzy, but I think that Izzy John Jones fight should have been made.
Well, I think John Jones would have beaten him.
I know, but you should have fought him.
Well, if you look at what Jan Blachowicz did to Izzy, like John Jones would have destroyed him.
Well, why didn't he stay at light heavyweight and fought Izzy?
Because he wants the heavyweight belt. That's more impressive than beating a 185er.
Oh, yeah. Do you think he'll get the Francis? Say if he beats Steve,
easily.
He'll get.
Yeah, that'll be from an interim title if they make that. I think.
Yeah. Francis, but who do you reckon would win that fight? Francis versus John Jones?
I have to go Francis, just because
I think John Jones would win.
I've picked Francis every time since I started watching, and he has not let me down. So he's an.
Didn't he lose to Stipe?
Yeah, that was before I started watching though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, Francis could knock him out, but I doubt it. John Jones has never been beaten in his career, according to me.
Yeah, but Francis Ngannou, as the hand of God, all he has to do is
They said the same about Deontay Wilder against Tyson Fury.
All he has to do is massage your chin. And
Mate, he said the same.
Yeah, and Deontay Wilder connected. He killed Fury for 5 seconds. He just has some sort of. He got
outclassed for 3 fights in a row.
Yeah, but he knocked him down, 5 times
he lost
in those 3 fights?
Yeah, but still, it doesn't matter if you knock him down. It depends on...
Yeah, but I'm saying, the argument is Wilder has the power, and he did hit Fury. Fury just has a ridiculous ability to get up.
Yeah.
And with 4-ounce gloves, he's definitely not
Well, do you want to talk about that? The Joshua loss to Usyk, obviously.
Yeah, Joshua also
past
lost.
Weekend.
Had a bit of a meltdown.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, to be fair.
It was just weird.
It started off well. He was holding up the Ukraine flag, and then he was like, he went off some random tantrum, it seemed like.
It's just
almost
weird when... I don't like when fighters unnecessarily like engage with the person they were just fighting.
Yeah.
Like they start just hugging them and they won't let go of them, and the other person's clearly
And he
uncomfortable.
took his shine away. Usyk obviously beat AJ 2 times in a row. He's a heavyweight. Well, yeah, he's a heavyweight champion of the world technically now. And yeah, it was just a bit weird how Joshua wanted to just talk and yap on after the fight. He's clearly, a lot of people have said over the years that this persona that he has of himself, where he's just the British superstar, where he's super nice and calm and humble. That's not his real personality, and I think he kind of showed it, even though it was probably because he had a bit of brain damage going on. I think that was part of it, but I think the fact that I just don't think he could cope emotionally. He couldn't put up a facade anymore.
Yeah.
After that loss, I think he just had to let it out of his real personality be let out.
Yeah, I think it was just all came over him that he's like, oh fuck, maybe
I'm no longer
I'm not the guy anymore.
Yeah,
and it's not even. It's like this little midget dude for a heavyweight that's just outskilled me. And I think he's mad that the Fury fight never happened.
Well, that would have been such an unbelievable fight. It's never probably the greatest British. Well, definitely the greatest British heavyweight fight of all time. Would have been sold out tenfold. And look, both sides blame each other for that not happening, but I think we can both. I mean, for me personally, I think it was more Joshua wanting to be the A side when he wasn't the A side. But look, I think it's a disappointment, and obviously you wanted Fury to face both Deontay Wilder, which he did, and Joshua, but it is what it is. And Fury came out after the fight and said he'd fight Usyk for $500 million.
500 million.
Yeah, well, he quoted Mayweather and said Mayweather got $400 million for Pacquiao.
That's a bigger fight than Fury Usyk. Sorry.
Mayweather Pacquiao was the 2 biggest names in boxing at the time. Now, Fury arguably is the biggest name in boxing at the moment.
But he's not selling like Mayweather was.
No, Mayweather sells unbelievable. I mean, if you look at pay-per-view numbers, Mayweather's like 4 of the 5. So, yeah, look, I'd love to see that fight. I personally don't see him coming out of retirement for...
I think he's going to come out. He's just one of those guys that he just can't...
Well,
he can't live without fighting.
He loves it so much. And I love Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is my favorite fighter of all time. But I think it's a lot to do with his family as well. You know, his wife wanted him to retire as well. And he said he would have fought AJ for free. I could see him doing that, actually. I could see it sort of being him fighting AJ again. But I don't ever see him fighting
Not
Usyk.
now after a loss. I reckon you do AJ versus Wilder now.
Yeah, that's a decent fight. But it's so much risk on either of them. Like, they kind of have to have a couple layups before they can sort of fight the elite level. Because if either one of them lose that fight, their career is essentially done at the top level.
Yeah, but that's fair enough, you know. They've both taken losses.
Boxing's fickle.
Guys.
You can't. It's all about ranking. It's all about politics. It's not. You can't have 3 embarrassing losses in a row. You just can't on the biggest stage possible, heavyweight championship of the world on the line.
Well, maybe it's just time to pack it up then.
Yeah. Well, look, I'd love to see that fight. I think it was a fight. It was a fight that should have again.
I think
the reason why I blame Joshua for the Fury Joshua fight not happening because it also happened with Wilder years before that. remember Joshua Wilder, because those two were the biggest names in boxing at the time.
When Fury was on his hiatus.
Yeah, when Fury was, like you said, on his hiatus. But those two were the biggest names, especially in the heavyweight division at the time. But that never got sorted out. And I think if it happens once, shame on... What's a J. Cole song? If it happened once, shame on me. If it happens twice, shame on you. Right, I love
how 3 times, fuck the peace sign, load the chopper, let it rain on you.
What a lyric that was. But yeah, I do think, looking back, it just reminded me now of the Wilder Joshua sort of potential fight. That Joshua kind of may be a bit of a prick, but that's by the by. Look, I'd love to see Fury Usyk, but I just don't think it happens. I think there's too much. I just think Fury's just so comfortable.
It's possible. I don't know.
It's possible. Anything's possible. But again, I don't think Usyk cares that much. I think he seems like a...
Well, does Fury still have the belt, or has he...
I don't even know.
Relinquished it? I don't know.
Well, he's obviously retired. He said he's publicly retired, so I'm assuming that he has. But yeah, I think everyone and their mother wants to see Usyk Fury, and those two are probably, even though pound for pound is obviously on skill, I think those two are the 2 pound for pound best boxers in the world.
Usyk could be up there. Fury as well. To be fair, he's very skilled for his size.
So look at it, how skilled he is.
Yeah, they're probably 2 of the better heavyweights ever, skill wise.
Yeah, where does Tyson Fury rank for you all time?
He's up there for sure. I don't know if he's number 1. You know, I don't have a massive depth of historical boxing knowledge.
To be fair, we're not the boxing nerds.
I think he beats Mike Tyson if they fought.
I do think Mike Tyson's probably the most overrated boxer of all time. To be fair, he had a massive punch, but against top level competition, he wasn't that great. Kind of like Wilder in a way. But yeah,
no, Tyson's better than Wilder.
Yeah, kind of. But again,
and even now, when you watch that guy, he's a fucking beast.
Yeah, well, against bums, but sure. I don't think it happens, but obviously, we'd hope it does. And what do you think would lure Tyson Fury back in? Do you think, what kind of number do you reckon?
I think if he's saying 500 mil, I think he's just fishing. There's no way he can actually think he's going to get that. I don't know. I really don't know. If he got 30 for his last fight, maybe 40, 50.
40, 50?
I think that's fair.
Fair play, lad. Fair play. So, moving on. Gotta get your head down, whoa. Gotta get your head down, hey. Sorry. I was just filling the time, Just
singing, gotcha. Appreciate it, bro.
You don't like that song?
Nice, bro.
Fucking gnarly, dude.
Something that wasn't fair that's just come out today. Daniel Ricciardo has been absolutely shafted by McLaren and the Formula 1.
Probably the fairest decision in the history of F1, if we're going to be completely partial.
It's not fair. It's horrendous.
It's horrendous.
It's shambolic.
It's horrendous. The guy stunk up the gaff for the past 6 months.
Yeah, well, when you sign a contract, you got to honour it.
I don't think that's how sport works, mate.
I think it is.
But yeah, look, not exactly shocking to hear that Danny Rick, even though he's Australia's favourite driver, I don't think it's shocking to hear that he's been sacked.
Well, no, they've mutually parted ways.
Yeah, I would have lose my F1 seat.
Well, he couldn't be sacked because of the way the contract was structured.
So yeah, he was paid off to leave. That's what that means.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know where he goes from here. You say Alpine, I say...
Well, the best option is Alpine. The
most logical one, but I still think Alpine want to get Piastri. So it's a bit...
McLaren aren't letting Daniel go unless Piastri's in.
I think they'd let him go either way, but...
No.
Well, I think they'd bring in Schumacher over Ricciardo. I think they'd bring in Gasly over Ricciardo.
Oh, God.
I think there's a lot of drivers that they'd rather have over Ricciardo.
Piastri's their man. Piastri's in. He has to be in.
Well, apparently Alpine are doing a contract dispute, so I'm not too sure, but look, it'd be really funny if Piastri was shit next year. It would be hilarious.
There is so much pressure on Piastri now.
Yeah.
If he does the same thing Daniel did this year.
Oh my God, he's going to be roasted alive.
You're like, why would you just get a worse Australian? You could.
Well, he's younger as well, so there's more potential.
He's younger, but you could have had a better Australian that would bring in more money.
Yeah, that's fair, but
so
I don't think McLaren are in Formula One to make money anyway. I think they want to compete at this. It's not like
Well, yeah, but
Williams,
it's like
where they're just there.
if you're
for sponsors.
sacking off Daniel, who has the history of being a great driver, for this kid, and he doesn't perform, if fair enough, if you let Daniel drive out next year and then we say we're not going to re-sign you, that's fair enough. But if you're going to make him skip out on the last year of his contract for this guy, he better perform.
Yeah. Well, because it's an interesting one. I don't know where Danny Rick goes for me personally. I do think it could be a potential swap with another.
I mean, he could go to Haas.
Yeah, that's what I said. Schumacher for Danny Rick.
I mean, I would hate to see that, but
it could have definitely happened.
I want to see him still in F1. So
I don't think Red Bull would take him again and put him in AlphaTauri.
No, no, he would not go to AlphaTauri. That would be.
Yeah, I just don't know where he go. Mercedes. Right?
No, they're all under contract in the top teams.
Yeah, to be fair, Ferrari maybe sack Sainz.
The teams don't sack drivers usually. That's not how it works.
Well,
and Sainz isn't driving badly, so he's not going to get sacked.
Yeah, maybe race director he could get a Ferrari. I mean, anyone could get that job. But look, it's a sad moment for every Australian to see Danny Rick sacked.
Well, it's bittersweet because he gets out of that shithole of a team that's McLaren, so
it's
finally free.
Norris did a lot better at that shithole of a team than Danny Rick ever did.
He did.
So
he did. But there has to be something more to it. I refuse because I looked through. There was this post that showed all Daniel's years in F1 against his teammates and the performance against his teammates. So he lost. Like Max beat him 2 out of the 3 years they were together. Daniel beat him 1 year. But apart from that, he's won every other season against his teammate until Lando. And the Lando seasons are so bad, like 4 or 5 times worse than the Max seasons that he lost. So it can't just be he's gone from, like, Ocon is a good driver right now. Daniel made him look like an amateur. And now he's just gone to being one of the worst drivers on the grid. I don't know.
Well, you do see in F1 especially, a lot of drivers do fall off. Just because age is a massive factor.
But not really like that.
Well, age is a massive factor in F1, and Danny Rick ain't young.
But he's like a...
And he's notoriously known for... not his reflexes, but you know what I mean? He's notoriously known as a sort of a guy that takes the most ultimate risks.
Even like Vettel, Vettel was poor in his last year.
Yeah, but Vettel was a class above than Danny Rick.
Well, no, but Daniel beat him when they were teammates.
And
but
that was...
In Vettel's last year at Ferrari, he was poor. And when he goes to Aston Martin, he's still performing well. So,
well, look, I don't know where he'd get an opportunity, though, Danny Rick. The only viable one I see is Haas. And I don't think Haas want to give up Schumacher for Danny Rick anyway.
Yeah, but I think Schumacher wants out.
I don't think wants out is the correct word, but I don't...
Well, I don't think he's happy there.
But do you think McLaren would go with 2 really young and experienced drivers?
Well, Lando's not really young or inexperienced at this point. He's been in F1 like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, but he's still young. He's still really young. So would you go with 2? Was it a historic?
He's been in F1 5 years. Like how long?
It doesn't mean 5 years.
Pretty much. I think next year would probably be his 5th year.
Well, how many Drive to Survive seasons has there been?
4.
He came in the second season.
No, he's had more years.
No, he came in the second season.
He's had 2 years with Daniel.
He came in the second season.
He's had... Okay, yeah, so this would be season 5 this season now. So this would be his 4th season.
Yeah.
So next year will be his 5th season.
But he's done 3 seasons.
This is his 4th season.
Probably. Oh, it's either I don't know. It's 3rd or 4th.
It is.
3rd or 4th.
I know I'm right.
Okay. Well, you said 5th season, so you're not right.
Next year will be his 5th season.
But look, he's still young. I don't think that 2 young drivers at a historic sort of driving, like McLaren, I don't think McLaren would take on 2 young drivers.
I don't think that matters.
Well, look, it may matter, it may not matter. Race weekend. Let's move on. Race weekend this weekend. Who do you reckon? What is it? Spa this weekend? I'm pretty sure it is. Well, Spa. My prediction: Haas 1-2. As per usual.
Great to see some diversity.
Haas 1-2, baby. That's what I'm talking about. No, for real, I don't think Ferrari are going to go win this race. controversially.
Yeah, Spa.
Who usually does well at Spa?
I don't know.
Historically. Well, Max Verstappen looks unstoppable. It's going to be interesting to see if Mercedes make any additional improvements, if they're any better. I have a sneaky feeling this could be George Russell's first win. That's my bold prediction.
Really?
George Russell, first win. We're going to come back next week. We're going to look at this and be like, Ollie is... His
George
mouth
Russell,
is just a word of gospel.
First win. Wow. That is a little bit...
it is a bit controversial, but look, I don't... Or it's either him or Perez, I'm feeling.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, Max...
Him or Perez.
So, Max won last year. Lewis won before that. Leclerc before that. Vettel, Lewis, Rosberg, Lewis.
Doesn't
Daniel.
really help, does it? She's just saying basically the last 3 years, Leclerc, Lewis,
Well,
and
Red Bull won last
Verstappen
year,
won.
so...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm predicting George Russell won. He's going to win it. Who's your
George
prediction?
Russell. I'm going to predict... It would be something if Mercedes come back after the break and they're on the pace and they win. That would be a statement.
It would be a statement, but it would be an illogical statement to make.
This is tough. I'm going to go Max. Safe. Just going safe.
Pussy.
I think Ferrari...
Pussy.
Just Ferrari, they always fall off in the back end. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're just completely off the pace.
Yeah, the car may not be off the pace, but
No, I
their
wouldn't
brains.
I
will
wouldn't be
off the
surprised
pace.
if the car's off the pace now as well to match their brains.
No, they'd have to be Williams level to match their brains. I mean,
yeah, and I mean obviously Perez isn't going to beat Max on pace. So
no, Latifi's going to win it. Go Tiffy.
actually, you know what? Daniel's going to win. Fuck it.
Imagine if he did. This weekend after he gets sacked by his team.
I hope he drives. I hope this just releases all the pressure of him and he just goes, fuck it, I'm just going to send it.
Look, you don't know. It's F1. It's controversial. It's up and down. So let's hope and pray. Now, before we go on to our next topic, I just want to highlight this guy's shirt over here. Look at it. If you can't see, give us a bit of a 12. It's Michael Scott. I mean, that is just an unbelievable T-shirt. Now, in real life, he is not a Michael Scott character. He's nowhere near the main character. But
I'm the world's best boss.
you're not even a boss. Look, you could have been boss if you stayed at Macca's, but that's by the by. Look, he's not the Michael character. Now, we were sort of conversating and debating whether we should do it with our friend group. I don't think we should bring him up. But if we're talking about our friend group in particular, which I think is a common sort of debate now that people do inside their friend groups, who's what character of The Office. And we have had this debate before. You are definitely not Michael. I don't know why I got the Michael shirt.
Because he's the best character.
Yeah, but you're not Michael. You got to get the shirt that of the character you most resemble. He's more like, would I say you're Dwight? Kind of. You're like stupid socially, but rather intelligent when it comes to your work and like top. So you're kind of like Dwight.
I guess.
You're socially incapable, but you're more or less
socially incapable.
Yes, you're incapable of making social interactions. Yes.
No, I'm not.
Look at him saying, "No, I'm not." It's like the most placid. No, I'm not.
It's just in certain things I don't try to, so it comes across as that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I think you're a mix between Dwight and a couple of other characters, but you're definitely not Michael. But I just like to highlight his shirt, how brilliant it is. And we saw the website. There is other shirts on there of different characters. So on a night out, we might, do a sort of a office look of different shirts. That would be fun and cool to do. So moving on to our next topic. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring it up.
Breaking news.
Mate, we don't have any breaking news. We have zero insight.
In the National Basketball Association. Well, the news came out just before this. I was notified of it just before this.
Yeah, I found it out, by the way.
Los Angeles Lakers are officially back. We're back in contention.
Did you trade for Kyrie?
No, better.
Kevin Durant?
Better.
Giannis?
Someone that actually plays basketball.
Pat Bev?
Pat Bev.
Oh my God.
What
a trade. The Clippers legend becomes a Laker.
I mean, he's robbed of Defensive Player of the Year every year. So
from Kingdom Come, everyone celebrate. Everyone come together, celebrate the Lakers getting Pat Bev. The Lakers fans hated him for years on end, and all of a sudden he's back a Laker, and
yeah.
every Laker fan just loves him now. Yeah. What a trade.
Well,
you traded THT and Stanley Bum Johnson.
Yep.
Or THC, as he's commonly referred to. Now, you wouldn't trade THC for superstars a year ago, but now you're trading him for Pat Bev. It's a bit of a weird one. But in saying that, Pat Bev is going to make an impact. Although, as a Clippers fan who's watched him for many years, the problem with Pat Bev is he cannot make a contested shot to save his life, and he cannot generate offense to save his life. The thing with the Lakers is they've got no shooters. So the only player they're really going to be defending is Pat Bev. So he's not going to have any wide open shots. So he's not going to make any shots. It's not going to be great for the Lakers. But look, in all kidding aside, he is a good player. He does make you better. However, it is just so hilarious how the Lakers fans... He's public enemy number one for Lakers fans for years. And all of a sudden, you've got to accept the fact that he's a Laker. I mean, you personally have come on this podcast, you've said it to me in friendship group, you said it in any situation possible that you hate Pat Bev and you think he sucks. But now you've got to accept him as a Laker. Yeah. How do you feel?
Well, it's similar to the...
No, just put the mic down. I'm going to interview you. So we have a Laker fan in our midst. I'd like to interview him. So how do you feel, sir, about getting Patrick Beverley?
I feel similar to how we got Westbrook. I've said multiple times Westbrook is the worst player in the league, and Pat Bev isn't far behind him. And now somehow they've both ended up on my team. I'm starting to think something is going on with the man upstairs. He's listening to me or something. But really, really shocking news to hear. Obviously, getting rid of THC is one of the best things I've ever heard in my life. Unfortunately, we had to get someone only very slightly better than him back in return in Pat Bev. To be fair, though, offensively, I think was Pat Bev's best year I've ever seen last year. In the playoffs and play-in, he was making some decent shots, so it gives me hope.
What do you think about Russell Westbrook's comments that Patrick Beverley is tricking your man and he does a bunch of running around and does nothing?
Well, yeah, here's the other interesting thing. Westbrook and Beverley hate each other. If you don't know, there's backstory where Pat Bev injured Westbrook on purpose a few years ago, back when he was back in OKC, and sort of ended their season that year. And I don't think Westbrook really appreciated being injured on purpose. So, I mean, it's just a circus, really. I mean, we'll see if they can become mates. I'm sure they'll say they are to the media, but I think Westbrook is a hard person to become friends with in the first place. So,
well, there you go. From a Lakers fan, terrific insight there from a kind of diehard, but also kind of bandwagon Laker fan. Which is their entirety of their fan base.
I will cop bandwagon for certain things, but not for the Lakers.
The Lakers' entire fan base is bandwagon.
No.
I did not see a single Laker fan on social media or in the stadium when you were getting the second pick every year.
That's when I supported them. 2016, I started supporting them. And they came
when you got Lonzo. That is despicable. That is the most bandwagon thing ever.
That was the Ingram year.
God. Just so bandwagon. It's
not bandwagon.
So bandwagon.
It's not bandwagon.
Look, yeah, I don't think it's a terrible move, but it's just hilarious how Laker fans have to accept him, that he's in his team, and Westbrook as well. How is Westbrook going to be like? Well, I am definitely staying here.
Is Pat Bev a six man? Do they start together? I don't know. That has to be the worst shooting backcourt of all time if they start together. I mean, unless Ben Simmons was involved, but apart from that, wow, it's
funny.
Wow.
Yeah, well,
I think we just have to pray to the gods that Anthony Davis just takes basketball seriously this year.
Please. You've got to work out.
Please.
During the offseason. Please don't just start a training
Our only
camp.
hope is that Anthony Davis can de-age 5 years and become good again.
Mate, 5 years ago, he was still getting injured every game.
Yeah, but he was at least good.
Yeah, well, let's see. I'd love to see what Nick Wright has to say about this. He's a diehard Laker fan. Well, he's a diehard LeBron fan.
Pat Bev better not go back on First Take and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm
He actually no. I did see a clip. He did say that he'd love to be on the Lakers.
I know. I was thinking that's why they've signed him.
We just need players that want to play.
We want someone who wants to be here, boys.
It is the LA and the Lakers, the most historic franchise in the history of basketball.
Who even runs the trades? Is it Rob Pelinka? Is he in charge of the trades?
Yeah.
What a joke, man. Oh, my God. I could run the Lakers so much better. Anybody could.
Right. Well, we were making this comparison earlier.
THC goes at the start of last year for me. Buddy Hield is in.
Well, yeah, we were
Anyone.
we're kind of making the comparison between Man United and Lakers and how similar it is. We both got overpaid popular players who are shit, essentially. And you've got a massive fan base, you've got a massive brand, and that's about it. So, look, fantastic news for Laker fans out there. And it's going to be very interesting to see if Russell Westbrook is going to be traded because of this.
Well, he is hoping.
Again, I wouldn't trade anybody in the NBA for Russell Westbrook, but that is just how it is at the moment. So moving on.
Final little sports thing. I don't know, if not true sport, but KSI is fighting this week. So, yeah.
Well, it's quite despicable how he set it up. I mean, you've got 2 3-round fights. It's a bit weak, man.
No, I think they're 4 rounds each.
You can't have 4-round fights, can you?
Why?
Well, because you just open up the possibility for a draw, and you don't want that.
No, you can have whatever.
Well, okay, fine, but I think you'll do 3-round fights, but it's a bit weird of a format. I don't think anyone is really interested in it. He's not fighting anyone that anyone knows.
Well, he was meant to be fighting Alex Wasabi.
Yeah,
and that fell.
Why can't he just promote like Fuzi to fight him? Like, why can't he just?
Fuzi, fuck.
He's already on the card. Why can't you just say, "Oh, Deji, mate, you're not fucking fighting him. I need a big name. Shut the fuck up."
No, because have you seen Fuzi's first fight? It was the worst performance of boxing ever.
Yeah, but you just need a name if you're KSI. Like, you think Alex Wasabi's a good boxer?
No, but I think he's better.
Fuzi knocked out Alex Wasabi.
Yeah. Oh God. But yeah, I mean, Deji versus Fuzi or the what's the other fight?
King
Kenny. Who's he's fighting? Face Sensei.
I don't know. I don't know who Face Sensei is. I know King Kenny from obviously Beta Squad. But,
and Faze Temper he's fighting.
It's just a bunch of nobodies, really. Not really interested in it. The only YouTube boxing fight I'd be interested in is Jake Paul versus KSI, and that was never going to happen on short notice anyway. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens. I'm hoping it happens.
He needs to win both these fights now to make it happen.
Well, probably, but I think Jake Paul fights him anyway. I think if he loses, and he still fights him. But yeah, moving on. Final segment. It's a bit of a weird. I saw this on TikTok. It's a bit of a sort of interactive section, I'd like to say. So, obviously, if you don't know, the new Game of Thrones series is out. I haven't entirely watched the first episode yet. That's my fault.
I haven't seen any of it.
However, it's called House of Dragon. It's a great show, apparently.
Is it good?
Well, from what I only watched half of it. I don't know why I've only watched half of it. I think I just fell asleep during it. One of our mates hates me because I always fall asleep while watching something. And we were recently on a ski trip, and I kept it open, and I was playing, and the Netflix show was playing all night on full speaker, but I fell asleep during the middle of watching it, and he thought I was awake till 4 o'clock in the morning. But that's by the by. It's a decent show from what I've seen so far. I won't spoil anything. I don't think it'll be as good as Game of Thrones. I don't think anything comes close to that. I'm just praying to God it's not like the last season. The characters seem interesting. I wasn't really... That's the thing, though. I wasn't really a Targaryen guy myself. I don't know about you, but...
I was a Daenerys guy.
We've been through this multiple times on this podcast. He only judges TV shows on the hotness of the women involved.
Wait. Season 1, you weren't happy with that?
I wasn't happy with that. No, but I was always a Jon Snow kind of guy. I was always I was a Baratheon kind of guy. I like Robert Baratheon the first season as well. The Starks, obviously, apart from Brandon, who was the most useless, pitiful excuse of a character, and then he becomes king. But spoilers. If you haven't watched it by now, then that's kind of your fault. So, the game. It's a sort of interactive game. It's like a random...
game. So, I don't know what this trend is, but you showed me it where you just do a randomizer on characters, and then the one it lands on is the dad, one is the mum, one is your girlfriend, one is...
her best friend.
her best friend.
Yes. So it's a very
And one is
interesting
her
one.
ex.
And it's oh god, I swear. I hope it's not fucking Brandon Stark. You gotta. I've said this before. He looks like Brandon Stark, doesn't he?
No, I don't.
Mate, look at him. He looks exactly like him. Look, especially in the chair. I mean, if you're in a wheelchair right now, you look exactly like him.
No.
I don't know what you. Same glasses. You look
Same
exactly.
glasses. He doesn't have glasses.
Yeah,
in the show.
in real life he does.
Yeah, well, that's
You
not,
look exactly like him,
that's
mate.
not
Anyway,
acting.
moving on. So, do you want me to do you first?
I'll
No,
do
you do
you
me.
first.
You do me first.
All right. First character.
And I will expand on it to see if I'm happy with it.
First character.
Do you want to just show? Do you want to show the viewers?
Oh
Or?
god, this will be difficult.
Oh no, it's impossible.
So
So who's that?
it's Macy Tyrell.
Who is that? Is that her dad?
Yeah, that's her dad.
That's a good one. Mace Tyrell.
I don't
Obviously,
even remember him.
he's the dad of the
Obviously, the dad of the Tyrell chick.
yeah the Tyrells. But yeah, he was a very compliant guy. I mean, he accepted Joffrey as a son-in-law, so he's a bit of an idiot. But that's probably the best one I probably could have got. He's gonna accept everything. He's not gonna be mad at me for anything. He doesn't care. He's like the most nice guy in the entire show.
Yeah, he's a bit of a boring character.
Yeah, but I don't care. It's my father-in-law, I think. Okay,
I think you gotta know.
okay. So this is now the mother.
Well, we'll see. Okay, no, this isn't the mother. This is the ex.
No, what about the mum? You haven't done the mum
Yeah,
yet.
but if it comes up with a guy, I can't say it's the
Well,
mum.
okay. Well, it could be.
doing it
We're very
basically.
accepting on this show.
This is the ex, okay?
Okay, this is the ex.
Joffrey Baratheon. Run.
Well, no, she's obviously been through a very traumatic experience in life.
You'll probably be killed for being with her.
Yeah, well, it depends what season we're in at the moment. But if we're talking about if he's still alive, yeah, this is not too great. But also, but then again, it'd be very toxic, wouldn't it? The relationship, she'd always think I'd be trying to kill her, but I'm not. Yeah, that's not a good one. Joffrey.
Yeah.
Joffrey's the ex. Oh.
Joffrey's the ex. Not great. Okay. Next one.
Next one. Is this the dad?
Who is that? Who is Will?
I've got no idea who Will is.
Okay, well, let's do another one.
So I'm looking for the mum right here. Looking for the mum.
Okay. We need a female.
We need a mum here. Come on.
There's not many female characters, clearly.
This is very sexist. It's auto generator.
Kind of looks like a girl. It's a guy with long hair. Oh my god! This is like
These are all guys on this generator. What is this? This is so sexist. You
Oh
click
my
the right
Lord.
thing.
Just give me Daenerys.
Give me-
There we go.
Who is it?
Lysa Arryn,
Liza Aaron?
the kid.
Oh no.
The kid that's a loser.
Oh
his mum.
no. She's a psychopath. She'll kill me. Oh my god.
Lysa Arryn is the mum.
She killed her own husband and then tried to kill her own Oh no. That's the worst possible one.
She throws people off the building.
Lysa Aaron. Oh my god. That's so bad. So my father-in-law is the Mace Tyrell.
Yeah.
Mother-in-law. Oh god. That shot. And her ex is Joffrey. God. So
Yeah.
who's this one? Is this her?
So this is her. Okay, that's not.
Who is it?
Ilaria Sand. She's
Oh.
like one of those desert
Yeah,
chicks?
she was.
One
She
of those
was.
desert chicks.
Yeah, she was like in a relationship with Pedro Pascal, his character.
Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian was in Game of Thrones. If you didn't know,
The guy that got brutally killed.
I don't know. I think that's bad. You know.
Oh,
Well, no, it's
Could
not,
be worse.
not on the attraction level. I'm talking about the fact that she was only ever in
she's
love
a trained
with him.
assassin.
Yeah, and she could kill me at any moment's notice. And I think and I'd always be self-conscious because I'd be like, oh, she's always been in love with him, and am I some kind of plot? Am I involved in? Ilaria Sand, that's not good.
Okay, well that's who it is. So
Ilaria Sand, look,
enjoy the rest of your life. With
it's
her.
a very attractive female, but I don't want to get killed.
Okay, now these are her besties.
This is her best friend.
There's two. Oh god, you got Bronn and Cersei.
Oh god, I'm dead. I'm dead inside a year. Well, I don't know the point of this is Cersei's going to kill me. Oh, Cersei's oh, God. Bron's
cool. He's
but
funny.
he'd kill me at a moment's notice.
No, not if you do right by her.
Oh, to be fair, I could pay Bronn off. He'd be... Yeah, Cersei one's terrible. I could have had Cersei as a mother-in-law. That would be pretty bad.
Or Cersei could have been the one.
But again, Lysa Arryn. So
Cersei could have been her.
Okay, so how do you do the...
Just press generate.
So number of characters to 1. Okay, so this is an interesting one. Oh, the father is Bran Stark.
The father is younger than me.
Well, no, we're talking about older. It's older in the show, so Brandon Stark is a father. Okay, we'll do another one. We'll do another one.
Okay.
Tommen, no. He's also younger than you. Yeah, so Oberyn Martell is the father.
Is that Pedro Pascal?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll take that.
Yeah, but he's also an assassin, and...
He doesn't last long. He's not in the picture for
No,
long.
but this is all if they're still living.
Okay, well, I'll take him. He can defend us.
Yeah, but what if you do something wrong? Like, what if you...
Oh, I'm not going to do anything wrong.
What if you cheat on her?
Well, I just won't do that.
Okay. Fair play. It could be worse. I mean...
It could be worse. It could be some psycho.
Oh, no, that's not a woman. Oh, you got Lysa Arryn as well.
As the mum.
Yeah, Lysa Arryn's a mum. Well, what's your comments on that? Do you have any differing thoughts to me?
No, I'd probably have to somehow plan her death. Like maybe I could just walk by her throne and like accidentally nudge her off so she falls through that big pit in the floor.
Yeah.
That would probably be my go-to for her.
But then you've also killed the wife of the assassin.
Yeah, but accident, so he doesn't blame me. And maybe he secretly hates her as well.
Just playing a risky game there. What's the next one?
You could do her or her ex.
What was the other one? No, there was something else. Where's the document?
That was it.
Hang on.
It's her or her ex.
You have so many Okay. Yeah, this is her ex. Oh, I forgot what thing it was. My God, this is the most...
The tab closest to the end.
Tab close. Okay, yeah. So her ex is Jaime Lannister.
Okay.
You've got a lot to live up to there. He's like especially in his prime.
He's only got one arm.
I know, but in his... Even so, and still, in his prime, he's the most sought-after guy in the whole realm.
Yeah.
And he's got a magic cock, apparently.
Maybe that's too much for her. She wants something a bit more low-key.
I don't think she does. I feel like you'd always be living up to that expectation. You've got to live up to Jaime Lannister.
Has no time for, couples time. He's always out on the job.
He's always out on the job.
He can't give a woman what they need.
Yeah, I feel that's a tough one, man. I think that's
he's also just having sex with Cersei on the side. So why would you want to be with that?
Okay. So this is her. Osha.
Who's that?
It's a wild chick that was with Brad that was wheeling him around.
She's all right.
The wild
She's pretty nice.
So what's your opinion of that?
I mean, once she's had a shower, she's all right.
Oh, I don't know about that.
She's pretty nice. She keeps the kids alive.
Yeah, she's a good character. Yeah, she's also a wildling. Are you a wildling fan or?
Yeah, but she's a wildling that comes to the good side.
She's come to the light.
How does she die? Does she die?
Yeah, Oh yeah. Ramsay Bolton stabs her in the neck when.
Oh yeah, fuck that guy.
So yeah. So
I'll take that. It could be worse.
These are her besties. Oh my God. Her besties apparently the three-eyed raven and Davos Seaworth. She loves some old geezers.
The bird is her friend.
Dude, so Davos,
is the three-eyed raven Bran or is it an actual bird?
No, it's the old guy.
Oh.
It's the old three-eyed raven.
Okay.
And Davos Seaworth.
I mean, they're nice blokes.
Yeah, but they're like 80.
Well, at least you're not under threat from the best.
I know,
friends.
but that's a bit creepy, no? Their besties are fucking 80
I mean,
years
yeah,
old.
maybe a little bit creepy, but it's a weird world.
It's a weird world.
What's the land called?
Oh,
what's the whole country called? King's Landing, the Wall.
The Wall. It's not called the Wall.
North.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say the North.
Okay,
that's where she resides.
So who do you reckon went off better there? Who I think I probably got the better situation.
Oh no, I think I got better. You got Joffrey as the ex.
Yeah, that's shocking. But you got also Jaime Lannister as the ex.
Yeah, but he's not quite as twisted as Joffrey.
Yeah, to be fair, I'd probably die. Yeah, I'm dead. It's Joffrey's the ex, to be fair. But maybe I could find a way to kill him. I don't know. Joffrey's quite easily. But then again,
he was killed rather easily. So,
but then Cersei would be after me, who is also my ex's best mate.
Cersei's the issue. Is
Cersei's my ex's best mate.
No, your girlfriend's
Yeah, my
best
girlfriend's best mates.
Yeah.
Who's also the mother of Joffrey, her ex. Is that incest?
It sounds right in line with the story. So,
yeah, there we go. But and who was I was dating the?
You were dating. Oh yeah, you were dating the Oberyn's.
Yeah, Oberyn's
girl, and I was dating
Ilaria Sand. Yeah,
I was dating Osha Ginsburg.
I think I got off better with that.
Fame.
I think I got off better with that. To be fair.
Oh no, I think Osha's all right.
It's a bit interesting, but anyway, that's a podcast for today. I thought I hope you enjoyed that last segment. I hope you enjoyed our other segments as well. Very interesting week upcoming in sports as well. Hopefully you subscribe, hit that like button, share it with
everyone.
Your buddies.
Remember, gamble irresponsibly.
Gamble responsibly.
Gamble irresponsibly.
You said gambling responsibly.
I said gamble irresponsibly.
Gamble irresponsibly. That's the message that you want to put out to the world.
You don't get it?
I do get it. You're doing the opposite.
Why was it so slow to...
Because you said gambly.
No, I didn't. I said gamble irresponsibly.
You said gambly.
When you hear it back.
I just heard it in my microphone.
Gamble irresponsibly. It sounds like gambly because the next word starts with E.
Or it starts with an E.
No, the sound
irresponsibly starts with an E. Yeah. All right. There we go. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Hope you like, share, and subscribe.
Subscribe or I will kill you. Because my mum is Lysa.
Yeah, well, okay, well, Lysa will kill you.
Yeah, and Lysa hates if I'm messed with, so...
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay, I don't probably say that you'll kill our viewers. But anyway, that is the podcast. Hope you enjoyed, and see you later. Any final words?
Nah, that's it. Peace out.
Peace out. A-Town. Yeah.